Welcome to the AWA module, the Analytical Writing Assessment module. In this very first video, we're going to go through the different parts of the AWA, and then we're going to talk about scoring, and then we're going to talk about what those scores mean. So first off, let's talk about why the AWA is so important. It's the very first thing you're going to see when you take the test. Now, you may say, oh, well, that's great because then I can get it over and move on to the other sections. However, how you perform on this part is going to leave an aftertaste in your mouth. So if you really knock out both essays and do a great job, you're going to go into the verbal and the math sections with a lot of confidence. If you feel flustered and overwhelmed, well, when you're done writing both of these essays, you are not going to feel like taking a math or a verbal section. So it's very important to go in with a lot of confidence. Now, I mentioned a second ago that there were 2 essays, and they're 30 minutes each, and it's important to note that if you finish the first essay with, say, 10 minutes left, those minutes do not carry over to the next essay. You have 30 minutes for each essay period. So, what are these 2 different essays? We have the issue task, and we have the argument task. The first one, the issue task, you have to actually answer a question in the form of an argument. So you create the argument. You back up your answer to the issue question. With the argument task, you're actually going to take someone's argument. They've come up with a response, and you have to take that argument apart and critique, show what's wrong with the argument. Now, for both the issue and argument tasks, I'm going to go into far greater detail in the upcoming videos. So now let's talk about the scoring. The scoring is on a range from 0 to 6. What that means exactly is that you can get anywhere, of course, from 0 to 6, but more importantly, the increments. You can get 0.5. You could get, probably better news, a 5.5. You can get anything in between. You can't get, however, a 0.4. That is not an increment of a 0.5. So anything from a 0 to a 6. Now, who's giving you this score? That's the important thing. And there are 2 human readers. And I'm going to underline human because there are other tests, GMAT included, where there's not always a human grading you, but sometimes a machine. So it's important. On the GRE, there are 2 human readers. They are from colleges or universities. They teach there. They usually teach courses that are focused on critical thinking and writing skills. So these are definitely experts who will be reading and critiquing your essay. So what are they looking for? Well, they're looking for the big picture. And that's what this word holistically means. They're thinking, how compelling was this argument, this essay I'm reading? Did it build its case? Did it have a cohesive organization? Did one sentence flow into the next, etc.? And so they're not saying, oh, look, its grammar is really awesome. I'm going to give it a 2 on grammar, and then I'm going to give it a 3 on essay organization. I'm going to add it up together. That is breaking things apart. They are just going to give an overall impression of your essay based on a number of factors, and that's what the word holistically refers to. So finally, a little note here about plagiarism. Do not be tempted to take text from GRE sources or from books you're reading or articles you're reading and think that if you could sneak them in here, you're on your way to getting a 6. They actually have a software. I said they're 2 human readers, that's for reading. But in general, when you're writing, a software is always tracking your words. If it notices that these words match anything out there, even if it's an essay written by another student a few weeks ago, if there are significant similarities, then you are noted for plagiarism. And that's bad because your score will be rescinded or canceled, and you'll have to pay the full fee. And that will not be a good thing, of course. So do not be tempted to do it. It will not help you out at all. So that is a scoring. What does it actually mean now to have a 0 or to have a 6? And so we're going to start with the good news, a 6. What does that mean? Well, you have insightful analysis and superior language. And so you can even pause the video if you want and go through each one of these separately. But what you'll notice here is that there is always a slight drop-off from positive to generally positive to pretty good to kind of limited to pretty bad. There's no organization there to just irrelevant and confusing. And I didn't even put a 0 here because so few people end up getting a 0. A 0 means you look at the screen, maybe you pass out from fright, who knows, but you're definitely not writing anything, or if you are, it's just scribbles, gibberish on the keyboard. So obviously that doesn't apply to most people. And for the most part, most come around this 4 level. And that's what you want to get above. You want to distinguish yourself or differentiate yourself from more than 50% of the students taking the test. And that's why people usually want to aim for that 4.5 area right here between 4 and 5 on both of the essays. And that's important to note that the scores are going to be the average of the issue task and the argument task. So if you end up getting 5 on the issue, 4 on argument, you will end up getting 4.5 on the essay. And once again, that would be a good place in terms of scoring better than 50% of people who are taking the GRE.